Australia is coming back. Yeah. In the face of a once-in-a-century pandemic, the Australian spirit has shone through. Doctors and nurses on the front line, teachers and students in the virtual classroom, businesses big and small, keeping the economy moving. Team Australia at its best, a nation to be proud of. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, we have come so far since the height of the pandemic. Treasury feared unemployment could reach 15% and the economy could contract by more than 20%. This would have meant more than 2 million Australians unemployed. It would have been the equivalent of losing the agriculture, construction and mining sectors. But, Mr. Speaker, today the reality is very different. Ahead of any major advanced economy, Australia has seen employment go above its pre-pandemic levels. Yeah. At 5.6%, unemployment today is lower than when we came to government. This is remarkable because Australia's fate could have been so much worse. The United Kingdom, France and Italy have all contracted by more than 8%. Japan and Canada by around 5%. Australia just 2.5%. On the health front, the catastrophic loss of life seen elsewhere has been averted. Early and decisive action saved lives and livelihoods. We closed our borders. The Prime Minister established the National Cabinet, and unprecedented support is seeing the country through the biggest global economic shock since the Great Depression. JobKeeper kept 3.8 million people in their job. Yeah. JobSeeker helped 1.5 million people without work. And the cash flow boost supported 800,000 businesses and not-for-profits. And additional payments went to millions of pensioners, carers, veterans and others on income support. All made possible because we entered this crisis from a position of economic strength. But, Mr. Speaker, it has come at a significant and unavoidable cost. The COVID-19 recession will see our deficit reach $161 billion this year, falling to $57 billion in 2024-25. With more Australians back at work, this year's deficit is $52.7 billion lower than it was expected just over 6 months ago in last year's budget. Net debt will increase to $617.5 billion, or 30% of GDP this year, and peak at $980.6 billion, or 40.9% of GDP in June 2025. This is low by international standards. As a share of the economy, net debt is around half of that in the United Kingdom and the United States, and less than a third of that in Japan. We are better placed than nearly any other country in the world to meet the economic challenges that lie ahead. Consumer sentiment is at its highest in 11 years. Business conditions reached record highs, and more Australians are in work than ever before. Our plan is working. Australia's economic engine is roaring back to life. Since the last budget, almost 500,000 jobs have been created. Tonight, I outline the Morrison government's plan to secure Australia's economic recovery and build for the future.